So today we will be working on multiflets and how to draw multiflets and the technical drawings, including the two-dimensional and the three-dimensional. So let's start with basic setting up your page. So once you have set up your page, I also want you to change the scale to 1 by 2 inch so we can see it a little bit bigger. Now, our first flat for today is Hollywood flat, and then we will work on the Broadway flat. So I want to make two design layers, one for the Hollywood flat and the another one for the Broadway flat. So let's go to layer and edit, and I want to give the design layer 1 as name Hollywood flat, Hollywood flat, and change, keep rest as it is, and then have the new one and give it name as Broadway flat. Broadway flat, and let's leave it. Now, as you see that the Broadway Hollywood flat is now on the stacking order 2 and Broadway flat is on the top. I can change this stacking order just to dragging it up. So now the Broadway flat is on the top. Okay, and here you go. Now Hollywood is on the top and Broadway in bottom. Let's select Hollywood. So now Hollywood is the current design layer and say OK. In your navigation plate, you see already that Hollywood is on the top. Now Broadway is the stacking order number 2. So now we can start working on this one. So let's zoom it a little bit. So as you may know probably that the Hollywood flat is a 4 by 8 flat. So what I can do, start with just drawing a simple rectangular of 4 by 8. So tab 1, that will give you size for the x-axis, which is our 4 feet, and then tab 2, which is for the y-axis, and that is 8 feet. So this is your basic drawing. I will put it in the center of the page. So this is a basic rectangular for 4 by 8. Now, on the Hollywood flat, there are two toggles, one on the top, one on the bottom with a butt joint, and then there are two sides. Top and bottom toggles are with the butt joint, so and they are made of a wood which is, we call it generally 1 by 4, but in size, in actual size, that is 3/4 by 3.5 inch. So we want to draw a toggle which is 4 feet in the width, and then height will be 3/4 of inch. So let's draw another rectangle which start from this corner, come to the last end. You see the x-axis has already 4 feet, so I don't want to change that. And if you hit next tab, then that will give you y, and that is 3/4 inch. Enter, enter. So this is your first toggle. Now I can draw another toggle up here. One way I can also copy and paste it. The another way that this I can mirror this. So I just wanted to make sure that that's been toggled correctly on the top corner. So this is on the top corner. Now if I select this toggle here and give the command mirror and bring it into the center, this will basically mirror the top toggle at the bottom. So now I do have top and bottom two toggle. Now let's draw the side one. Now I know that the two side wood will basically start from the inside of the top and bottom toggle. So if I start from the top corner of this one and keep dragging it at the bottom till I hit the top of the bottom toggle. Now you see that on the y-axis this is already 7 feet 10.5 inch. So I got the height. Now I want to give the width on the x-axis. So if I hit tab, this gives me x-axis, and this is 3/4 inch. And this is the side toggle. Now I can select this one as this is already select and select mirror, and then again bring it onto the center as the mirroring plane. Now I have already mirrored this toggle onto the right hand side. So now I do have top, bottom, right, and the left toggle. So these four toggles I do have. Now I want to put a toggle each after 2 feet of distance within this frame to give it a uh, strength. So what I'm doing, I'm taking this reference rectangular on this side. I'll leave it on this one. And now I do have these top toggle, bottom, left and right. So what I'll do, simplest way that I will draw a line from the bottom of the bottom toggle, a 2 feet distance line. Now this is my reference line, and what I can do, either I can duplicate this one, I can copy this one, paste this one, or I can, because this has already a size given, so what I'll do, I will give duplicate it, which is Command D or Control D. So duplicate it, and I'll pick the center of this toggle and put in the center of my 2 feet line reference line. Now, as you see that this is already intersecting with the side one, we don't want, this is also butt joint. The simplest way to just to click on this one, wait for the double arrow and bring it to the inside portion. And bring it onto the inside for the reference one. So now this is butt joint. As you see, the size of this one is already 4 feet minus 3/4 and 3/4, so which will be 3 feet 10.5 inch. The another way to making this is to make a rectangle of, if I make a rectangle of tab 3 feet 10.5 inch, and then if I give it the height, which is another tab, which is 3/4 inch, this is the toggle I got. So this is the same size of toggle which I just draw. Okay. So now I can draw another reference line from this point to another 2 feet for the next 2 feet. So I am drawing from the center of this one to the 2 feet. And now I got the 2 feet, and I can simply duplicate it. So select this one, Command D, and drag the center of this one to the center of the next toggle. Now the next toggle, I can just simply select it and Command D. This will automatically put it onto the 2 feet because this taking the reference of the duplicate distance from the previous command. So if I want to measure this one, just to make it sure that this is correct size, I can select my scale, come on the top of the top toggle and come to the bottom of this toggle. As you see into the length, this is 2 feet. So I know that this is my right size of toggles placed on right distance. So delete those lines. I don't want this one also. Now, what we got is the length and width. So we got two dimension, x-axis and y-axis for all of these lines or these frames, or for the scene shop language, for these woods. What we want to give them now, the height or the depth. For our 1/4 inch of wood, the depth would be 3.5 inch. Uh, so what I can do, I can select this complete drawing and then hit Command E or Control E, which will give me option for the extrusion. That means giving height or the Z axis. So for this, we know that our height is 3 and 1/2 inch, and say OK. This is now been converted into 3-dimensional. To check this, I can go to the top plan and say right isometric, and then you see that there is already a height to this one. All right, let's go to back to top plan. Now we know that when we make the Hollywood flat, we also put a luan on the top of the Hollywood flat. The reference rectangular which I drew at the beginning is already 4/8, so that is the size of our luan. Now our thickness of our loan is a 1/4 inch. So I can give command E to this one, and I can give 1/4 inch extrusion to this loan. And if I go to right isometric now, I can see the thickness of this one, as you see. So to make sure that we are seeing, you are able to see it correctly, I can select both the, and then we can give it the solid OpenGL. So to do that, select those, go to the top of this one. Sorry, oops, go ahead. And then from here, I want to select OpenGL. And by doing that, I can get the thickness top and right isometric. Oops. And OpenGL. So now I got the thickness. Now let's change the color of this Luon. So I'm gonna go and give it a little darker color. Oops. Select, and let's go somewhere darker. Okay, more darker. Okay, and you see now I do have a color. Now the next thing I want to do is to place this Luon on top of this frame. Now remember, the Luon has also started from the 0 plane. So if you select the Luon and go and look into the extrusion object info palette, you see the Z axis starting point for this Luon is 0, because also this frame is 0. So we want to start the frame from the 0 plane on the Z axis, but we want to put the Luon on the top of this frame. One way to do that is to go to the top plane, drag this. First, we want to put this on the top of this frame, but still the Luon is starting at the 0 level. So if you go to the right isomet, right side, you see that you don't see Luon. The Luon is up here. This is not on the top of the frame. One way to do it, just to drag it and put on the top of this one. That's one way. The another way, let's put it back, is to, if you have selected this one and if you go to the Z size, I can give this the height of this frame. So I know the height or the depth of my wood is 3.5 inch. So if I give the Z axis height to the Luon, to this rectangular, then the bottom of the rectangular will be placed on the top of this. So let's give it 3.5 inch of Z-axis height, and you see this is now already on the top of this. So I can go and check this into right isometric. This is here. I can select it, do it OpenGL, and I can see that this is on the top of this one. So let's go to the top view. Now this is my Hollywood flat frame with Luon on the top of this. I can go and make a PDF file from here. So go here, export, and export as PDF, and then give it a DPI, which is already 300. It will ask what is the page. So if you have more than one page, you can select more than one page. So I would say page number 121, export it, and then this will export, let's say, Hollywood flat, and this will go onto my desktop. The another way to make sheet layer. So how to do that? Go to view, go to create viewport, and then this will ask you a bunch of questions. First, if I want to give the name to viewport, and I can change that later on. So let's say I don't want to give it a name. Create on layer. So if I do have many layer, if I have sheet layer here, I can create those here. But let's leave this for the moment. This will be my drawing number 1. I can give it the name. So let's say this is the plan drawing of my Hollywood flat. So let's say Hollywood flat plan. This, there is the scale, and then on the display setting, you can also see that this is the top and plan view. I can change it from the here. This will change the plan of the actual drawing. This is the name, remember, this is the actual plan. So I would leave the top plan at the moment and I'll say okay. And then this will ask me which sheet I want to. This is sheet layer. So I want to give it the sheet number 1. I can give the sheet title, that is Hollywood flat title, and say okay. And as you see that this has already come into my sheet layer as drawing number 1. Now I want to create a couple of more drawing. So let's go back to our Hollywood flat design layer. I can change, go to view again, create viewport, and this time I want an isometric, let's say right isometric. So select right isometric from here. Now this time you see that create on layer, this is already come up as sheet layer Hollywood flat because I gave the name from the previous file. Use style, drawing label number, I can change that style later on, but this is drawing number 2. I can give it a drawing title, so that's, let's say, right isometric title. Rest leave the same, and from here view I can also select right isometric. So say okay, and you see there is another drawing popped in which is right isometric. Then I can again go to right Hollywood flat and make 2 more. So let's say this time I want to have the left side of the drawing, and then select left from here and say okay. This is the left side of my drawing and place it here. And then let's select one more, the view, create viewport, and this time I want it to make top front of this drawing. So front, okay, and this is the front. Now as you see that for this drawing I have all the viewport with me. I have plan, I have left, and I have right. So this is the, in our plan drawing, in our drawing, this is the top, this is the side, and this is the front. This is the right isometric. I can change these view from the drawing itself. So if I, let's say, select this one and I want this rather than right isometric to left isometric, I will go to object info palette and you see view here. If I select left isometric, it will change the view. This is my sheet 1. This has already been saved into my file. So save. I can save this as a Vectorworks file. So let's say flats, multiple flats, and that's all. So this was all about the flat today. And in next video, I will talk about the Broadway flat. Thank you.